Yo, what's going on, everybody? Veedotme here. I'm finally able to announce the release of Update 35. The end is near on both PC and console. You know what that means? Do not ask me about mobile release date because I have no idea. PlayDigest did say they will get you all up to speed on 34 this year. Anyway, with that aside, you may not know, but Update 35 is actually the final update for Dead Cells. After this, there will only be bug fixes, and I'm sure those will be few and far between. Motion Twin, of course, is working on Windblown. Evil Empire, of course, is working on Rogue Prince of Persia. But there is good news because Update 35 is actually a fantastic update, and it's actually quite large compared to what we've gotten before. The big stars of the show is everything around the curse mechanic. Now, keep in mind, curse is not going anywhere. It's exactly the same as it has been. You die once you get hit. However, new monsters have been added to the game and a bunch of new weapons and mutations that have to do with the curse mechanic. The way this was done was that a new biome modifier has been added, which is basically a cursed biome. Once you get into 2 BC and higher, there's a 25% chance for you to get this skull emoji over top of a door that leads to the next biome. You can also view this on the biome map. This tells you that the biome that you're entering is a cursed biome and will include the 3 new monsters, all of which have some way to curse the player. In 2 BC, this can show up to 2 times, and in 5 BC, there is no cap to how many times this thing can show up. I should mention that there is always a biome that is not cursed, so you're not mandated to go into this. However, if you decide to go in, there is reward for doing so via enhanced weapons, and the spawn chance of a cursed chest inside of this biome is increased by 10%. I actually find it to be a very fun way to go through Dead Cells. I like to use these cursed biomes as a way to dictate where I'm going to go in a run. So once you get into the biome itself, you are presented with 3 brand new monsters. One is the Sore Loser. This thing simply chases you around, and if you kill it, you will get cursed. The curse at default is 3. However, the monster is very tiny, so you have to really be careful not to curse yourself when you least expect it. The second one is Doombringer. This thing has melee attacks that don't actually hurt you, but it does apply 2 stacks of curse. The most important part about this monster, though, is that it can stun you. And this ends up being particularly dangerous as you're trying to fight multiple monsters at the same time. You might get stunned and then just die from straight damage, not even getting cursed. The Cursor is a homage to Spelunky, where this thing fires out a homing skull that can go through walls. If it touches you, you do get cursed from it, and it's a 5 curse, which is actually pretty bad. But that's not the only things that have to do with curse. We have 3 brand new weapons that work with it. First off, there's Anathema. This thing pulls out a mushroom boy, rips it apart, and fires a bazooka shot at the monster in front of you. The bazooka shot does a giant explosive hit. If it's a direct hit, it actually does more damage than if it hits only in the blast radius. So your goal is to actually land direct hits on this, because no matter what, if you hit a monster, you get 1 stack of curse. Indulgence is a brand new skill. This thing calls down a ray of light on the nearest enemy. If you have no curse on you, it'll do critical damage, which does a pretty significant amount. However, if you have a curse, it'll do less damage as a normal hit, but then if it kills the monster, it'll actually cleanse 3 stacks of curse from you instead of the normal 1. If you happen to have a lot of curse on you at the same time, it'll fire out 1 of these missiles per 5 curse that you have. Basically, if you pick up a curse chest that gives you 10 curse, you'll fire out 2 basic missiles and have a chance to cleanse up to 6 curse if you manage to get a kill with these. And then the final weapon that we have, Misericord. Definitely correct my pronunciation. This thing will do a critical hit on the enemy if it has 50% or less HP. That means your goal is to kill the monster with it because, again, if you don't, you get cursed for doing so. Luckily, we have 3 new mutations that also work with Curse. The first, and probably most important for something like Misericord, is Demonic Strength. This thing gives you a 30% damage buff simply for being cursed. No matter how much curse you have, it's 30% at base value, and these are all colorless mutations. For every curse that you have over 1, there's a 2% damage buff for each stack of curse. Funny enough, the cursed sword by itself counts as 1 stack. You get the 30%, so all you need to do is put more curse on top of it to get bonus damage for demonic strength. They have now added something called Damned Vigor. If you get hit and dealt fatal damage at any point, regardless of if you're cursed or not, you actually stay alive for a whole 2 seconds. If you kill an enemy while under that effect, you'll be saved. What really happens here is that you go down to 1 HP and you're given a rally meter. You have 2 seconds to kill an enemy. Of course, when you deal damage to kill an enemy, you'll get some of your HP back. However, if you don't get above 1 HP, Damned Vigor will not activate at all. You will not get Fight for Your Life if you're simply at 1 HP. Cursed Flask gives you infinite health flask charges. This might sound incredibly strong, being able to heal yourself at any point, but if you use the health pot, you get a 20 curse on top of you. 20 sounds like a lot, but keep in mind we have a lot of different mutations in the game now that do help with that, and things like Indulgence, which could help you lower that curse more quickly. So that's it for the curse mechanic, but as I said, this update is fairly large, and that's not even like the coolest part of the update. The next 2 things I'm going to show you are probably one of the most interesting and honestly my favorite parts of the update. First off, we have a bunch of new legendary affixes. As you know, some of them were left in sort of a boring state. They may give you bonus move speed or a bubble or something like that. A lot of those have been updated and now are much cooler than they have ever been. Flawless also gives you sort of a fight for your life. If you kill an enemy after getting hit, you can still do your critical hits. The pickaxe now gives you bonus crit multiplier per gold. Not quite the same thing as the greed shield, but it still gives you like scaling damage bonuses. Punishment will recast that AoE attack if your parry kills a target. Rampart will now reflect the damage you receive if it's being dealt to that force field around you. Cocoon has new technology that reduces the cooldown on the cocoon for each time you do a successful parry. Meaning if you fail the parry, the cooldown actually isn't as long as it's usually. Emergency Door can no longer be destroyed except by bosses while it's a legendary. The Bone from Skull the Hero Slayer will continue its whirlwind duration for a 2-second bonus every time it kills an enemy. That means it could be indefinite if you have infinite enemies in front of you. Wrenching Whip will throw down Crow's Feet on the first attack of the combo. Explosive Decoy now gets a full reset if the explosion fails to hit a target. Barrel Launcher will now fire out 3 bullets. This is especially interesting because each bullet will destroy one another, so it actually turns it into almost like a shotgun. Leg Hugger now summons 2 Leg Huggers. They both digivolve at the same time, and of course you can bring in more Leg Huggers in your other slot. The Assault Shield now gets a charged dash. If you hold down the shield button, then you will launch yourself forward. It goes actually farther than the normal speedrun dash if you do it properly. The Ice Shards will bounce on the ground twice before it disappears, allowing you to hit far-range targets. The Quick Bow can get infinite ammo during its critical hit. Bladed Tonfa now only does the first attack of the combo, which is that gap closer. The Grapple Hook will now fire a chain behind you, so you get 2 chains at one time. Tesla Coil can be activated twice, so you can actually throw down 2 separate Tesla Coils. And so does the Lightning Rod. You get 2 uses and can put them out at different times. And then there's brand new routing in the game. You can actually access from High Peak Castle. You can actually fight Dracula instead of Hand of the King. This gives you so many more options to actually finish a run of Dead Cells, especially dependent on what items you have. But the first instance of Dracula's Castle, you can actually fight the concierge instead of Death. You can access Dracula's Castle from both corrupted prison and toxic sewers. In Ossuary, you can actually fight Death instead of concierge if you want. You can access Dracula's Castle from any of the biomes after the second boss. And then finally, and possibly my most favorite part of the update, is that this update also brought to us brand new heads. Taylor's daughter, the NPC that changes your head, now has tons, and I mean tons, of different ones to choose from. Many of these are obtained by doing different challenges. I'm not gonna go through all of these, but there are certainly some really cool ones, many of which all have animations as well. So there you have it, Dead Cells' final update. Instead of the end is near, basically the end is here. At some point, I have to post my plans for this game going forward. But for now, we have a ton, and I mean a ton of videos for Dead Cells that are posted. Here's a couple that are up on the screen right now. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, it's free to do, or consider becoming a channel member, which is as simple as being an easy mode supporter down at the bottom of the video. Last thing I want you all to do is to leave a comment letting me know which head is the favorite of yours. If you don't have the heads yet, then I'm sure just choose one from the list. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.